Sometimes I wrote like bits of songs, of stories that were not about myself, but about other people, and like when they confided in me how they were feeling about something or about their breakup. And so, yeah, in other people's stories as well, give inspiration. But I think you kind of find it everywhere if you just know how to look at things. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's guest is Gaelle Berton, who speaks about writing songs as a kid, solving people's problems, but also the power of love. Gaelle is someone very important to me. She's very curious and inspiring in her approach to life. So I'm not going to share too much in this introduction and let you discover this beautiful human being, Gaelle Berton. This is a trauma because once it was not recording and I'm always trying to make sure.
Triple checking now.
But yeah, I'm going to start by reading out a letter I've written to you.
No way!
It's a love declaration.
No.
So, dear Gaelle, I have the feeling that for many people, being an artist means being a painter, a sculptor, or a composer, which you are not. However, when I got to know you, I was very impressed by your ability to resolve any problem and always find solutions. Which is probably why, whenever someone doesn't know what to do, Gaelle is the one and only person to call. And this, for me, is creativity. As you became my best friend in London, I also discovered your curiosity. I witnessed you reading new books, but also learning to draw with challenges and telling me everything about architecture and Victorian-styled furnitures, something very alien to me, as I hate objects. Even before leaving London, you were so excited to design your new home in France, and here we are, surrounded by horses, dogs, nature, and your future home recording this episode. So my question is, are you an artist?
That is so funny because just before we started recording, I was like, I'm not an artist. What am I going to tell you? And now you answer, I'm not an artist, but I'm creative.
Yes, I think you are.
In some ways, yeah. I think we're all a bit artists, hearts, in different areas, or so. That's quite funny.
Yeah. But I feel like you're quite creative. Like you like to create things, right?
The thing is, I get bored so easily. So I always have to find something to do and something new to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love learning new things. And yeah, so I'm always starting a million things and starting to learn a million things. So it's going to be like, I'm going to do some singing and then I'm going to draw and I'm going to paint. And I'm going to knit and do all this stuff. And it's just so funny because you learn something different every time. And I think it helps you every time you start something new as well and learns you to adapt to. So yeah, I just love learning new things and creative things. I feel like because my background was like so... I studied law and it's really straightforward and it's like boxes you need to tick, and being creative you can like explore a bit more yourself and the world, and so it's very interesting. I think I need both. I also need like not boxes, but I also need like this is how you do things and structure, you follow the rules. Maybe. Yeah, structure, exactly. So.
And do you have like a very first creative memory, like being a child and the first time you created something?
Yeah, and that was actually like we used to live when I was a kid in that big semi-derelict farmhouse. So same like lost in the French countryside, and there was literally like no neighbors. So it was just me and my two brothers. So we were outside all the time, and I remember I was just like walking around the big farmhouse, like writing a song in my head at the same time. Like I was...
Oh, you were writing a song?
Well, I was just in my head. Like I was just singing a song that I was making up while walking.
How old
I
were
can't
you?
remember, but it was like 10 minutes long. I did that for 10 minutes. And it was like, I never wrote it down or anything, but I was just like singing a song that was just writing in my head at the same time.
Wow. How old were you? Do you remember?
I was probably around 10.
Wow.
Yeah, because I lived there between 8 and 12. So yeah. Yeah, so that was funny. So there was always a lot of that about writing. I always liked that. Writing stories or writing songs. More than songs, more like lyrics. Because I'm terrible with melodies and arrangements.
Do you still do it now?
Not really. I was doing it so much when I first, well, just before I moved to London, and then for a few years after I moved to London, I was writing a lot. And then I kind of stopped. And I feel like I stopped. It was very therapeutic for me to write because I went through like a lot of stuff when I was younger and I lost my brother. And it was like I was struggling mentally so much, and writing like how you feel and your emotions was helping me so much because I was not very good at telling people I was not feeling well.
Oh, wow.
But I was writing about it, and yeah, it was very therapeutic. I wasn't showing anyone what I was writing, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I feel like I stopped when I started feeling better.
Okay.
And I realized afterwards, I was like, one day I was like, I'm not writing anymore at all. And I don't feel the need when I felt like I always had a little notebook in my bag so I could write as soon as something was coming up, and I was not feeling that need anymore. I was like, it's so weird. Like I kind of stopped all of a sudden. And then I realized I was like, yeah, but I feel more balanced in a way and more mentally stable. And I feel like I knew I was writing in a very therapeutic way. And I realized even more at the time that, yeah, it was definitely because I needed it. So, yeah. And I don't write much anymore. I try to because I still like it. But sometimes it's like, maybe I'm not writing anymore because I'm just burying everything and I should write to get it out. And oh, I mean, now I'm just boring and I don't have anything to write about anymore.
That is so funny.
But yeah, I have a few notebooks with a lot of stuff written. Like just sometimes it's just like 4 or 5 lines. But yeah.
And do you feel like growing up you could kind of explore your creativity at school or in your family, or not that much?
I kind of like, even if I grew up in like real countryside, when like there's not much access to culture or creative activities, I feel like I've always been encouraged. Like at school, in primary school, we were with a group of friends. We were doing a lot of theater, and like we had a dedicated afternoon at school with the class when we were doing theater, and we loved it so much that during our spare time we were also creating little plays.
Wow.
With a group of friends, and we were really encouraged by our teachers, and even to the point that we put on a show, just my group of friends, in front of the whole school and parents.
That is
Like
cool.
we had a dedicated Saturday morning because we had school on Saturday mornings, and we had a Saturday morning when they like hired the community center so we could put on our play, and it was just like 6-7 of us.
Aww.
And yeah, we were so encouraged. So that was really funny. I had great teachers in primary school, and yeah, we had that, like, I think it was Monday afternoon. We had a rotation of class. Like one teacher was teaching us drawing, painting, and another one was doing theater, and another one was doing music. And like all the classes would one by one do theater, music, drawing. So that was really, really cool. And I think it was really important for everyone. And at home, I was with my brothers. We used to put on like singing shows. We were doing a lot with Goldman, Jean-Jacque Goldman.
Wow.
We were doing that. Like, he had that album with Carol Jones and what's the other name? The other guy? Can't remember. But we were singing, like lip syncing on that, and put on like on a big double bed that was our stage, and we would like choreograph stuff. And then it was like when we had a dinner and my parents had friends over, it was like that was the little show that we were doing at the beginning of the evening.
Wow.
So I think they put up with a lot with that, my parents. Always like, come see our show. We will like write down programs. And all. So we were bored with nothing to do, so we were doing that. So it was just having fun doing that.
Yeah, I feel incredible. It's incredible when you don't have anything to do, that
you just find ways to entertain yourself.
It's crazy.
And other people.
And do you remember what you wanted to do when you were a kid?
I went through, I think like everyone, I went through so many different ideas of careers. Like I had I want to be a teacher, until to be a librarian, because I always loved books. So, and we had a lot of books at home, so I was always like, librarian, teacher. I wanted to be a vet at some point. I think the first like real serious career I was thinking was being a vet. And then we had a cat who had babies, and she was like crying so much while delivering the kittens, because it was difficult. I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I'm so sad. I want to cry.
Oh wow.
So I was like, no, I can't be a vet. I've always like it's funny, I always wanted to do something creative. So I was like, oh, I would love to be a singer one day, or a dancer. I don't dance. I'd love to be a dancer. I admire so much like people who can control your body, and in a way it's just fantastic, and carries so much emotion as well in dancing. And singing was always a big part, but at the same time, like, that's not a serious career for me. I'm way too shy to be singing in front of people. So and then architecture was always a big one as well. And I ended up in law.
And how was it to study law?
It was difficult. Like I feel like at the same time I choose to go to law school, obviously, but it was more like a default choice more than anything else. Like we have to, as a kid, we have to like pick so young the career you want to do when you need to choose your major at university. And it was more like I wanted to be. I was like, I was hesitating between medicine and law, which is like not opposite, but it's very different. And medicine, I was like, same as vet, I don't think I cope well with like seeing people suffering. I'm too, like, I take on the pain too much. So I was like, I'm not sure medicine is the good one.
Too much empathy.
Yeah, too much empathy. It's going to wreck me. So I went for law, but more as lack of other ideas, or it was more lack of confidence, I think, to go for the things I really wanted. So I went to law being like, that's the thing that's going to open you doors the most, probably. Like, once you've done law, you can do a bit of anything, really. So I went to do that, but it was interesting because it's very stimulating intellectually. So, and there's a lot of problem solving because you're kind of like always representing a party and you want to have your side winning. So you kind of like try to find strategies, and but at the same time, it's like it was a bit soul crushing. There was just so many students, and it wasn't very exciting creatively. So it was interesting intellectually, but creatively it was like, that's crushing the soul. and there were a lot of nice people and like friends, but there was also like all the sons and daughters of like judges and lawyers, and like it's a whole different world. So you kind of feel very excluded from it. So that was interesting,
And why did you decide to go to London?
Good question. I feel like I've always wanted to kind of go live abroad just to experience something very different in terms of culture, in terms of language as well. But I feel like it's more, again, it was like writing, it was therapeutic. I felt like I needed to challenge myself, push myself, like get out of my comfort zone. And also, I would say to kind of heal from certain things, but away from the people without having that pressure to be there for others. And it was like a way to be there for myself that time and kind of
find a bubble.
Yeah, create my own bubble and see like who am I on my own. And explore myself a bit more as well without having people. We always feared judgment, so I always felt like I couldn't do the things that I did in London near my family and friends because I would always be afraid of what they would think. So like you have that kind of that secrecy, having your own life abroad, and you can do whatever you want, and you say as much as you want to the people, your family and your friends. You don't have to tell them everything, and you kind of keep your own life for yourself a bit. And yeah, I just felt like I needed to be on my own for a bit and kind of build a life on my own and see how I was getting on with that.
And do you fear other people's judgments, or is it mostly your family and relatives?
I feel like it's everyone at that time. And I've progressed a lot on that. I don't fear judgment as much as I used to. I think that's the good thing with London. That's what it teaches you. You can be who you are and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, people don't care.
Yeah, people don't care. There's a lot more acceptance. I think London is so diverse, and so and that was one of the goals with moving to London. It was to progress on that as well and not be so afraid of being judged. And I think that I got to that point now that I don't really care anymore what people think. Not as much. I still do, but not as much. And I'm more like, this is who I am and this is what I think, what I want to do. And if you're not on board, well, that's fine by me. I'll still do it.
I'm going to show you.
Exactly. But yeah, but I feel like it's everyone. We kind of, to a certain degree, aware of what people think of us, or a bit afraid of what they might think when we do something or say something. But
and when you create something new, for example, you have this project of a new home.
Yes.
What's the feeling driving it?
What's the feeling driving it? I think it's just finding happiness, like finding somewhere, someone, a situation, and building a life that you're happy in, and serenity as well. I always feel like where I want to do my home is just, I feel like it's only going to be good vibes, that sort of things. Yeah, I would say it's happiness, like the seeking happiness in those projects, and growing as well, because you're doing new things, and I'm going to do a lot of the building works on my own, and it's like I'm going to learn new things I've never done before. And maybe that's not going to work out. We'll see.
But yeah, I can confirm that it's a very peaceful place. Like we are in Gaelle's home now, like there are horses around, as I said, and nature.
The forest. Oh, we're surrounded by the forest, the woods, and yeah.
It's not London.
It's not London. There's no traffic.
And I mean, all these, like when you do drawings or when you were writing, or how do ideas come to you?
I don't know. I found this a lot through like the music I listen, the TV shows or movies I watch, give inspiration, the books I read, but also like kind of like other people's stories as well. Because I know sometimes I wrote like bits of songs, of stories that were not about myself, but about other people, and like when they confided in me how they were feeling about something or about their breakup. And so, yeah, in other people's stories as well, give inspiration. But I think you kind of find it everywhere if you just know how to look at things. Yeah.
And what is your favorite part of a creative process? Is it the very first idea, or when it's finished, or when you are...
I usually prefer the ideas because I'm like, I'm sure I can do it. And like I have that perfect idea in my mind. And usually, especially in drawing and painting, I'm still learning a lot. So the final piece is not as good as it was in my mind. So it's a bit disappointing. So I like researching ideas as well. Because that feeds you more ideas and inspire you even more. So yeah, I kind of prefer all the preparatory work and getting the ideas and brainstorming on the ideas, executing as well. But then the final piece, usually I'm like, that's rubbish.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Do you also like to create with other people?
I don't think I've done... Well, apart from like as a kid, as I was telling you, with like theater and with my brothers, I don't think I've done much sort of like collaborative, creative stuff. No, I don't think so. Same. I think it's not... I feel like I've done choir as well, and I loved it, because you sing with other people and it gives it like a whole different dimension to singing. And you kind of share that experience together, and it's really interesting. But as creating something, I always feel like sometimes I could have had the opportunity, and I was always like, that person is too good, way better than me.
Oh, wow.
And I think I was wrong. So I would pull back, but I think that was wrong. But now I know I'm wiser, I guess. Because if they were, and they definitely were, I could have learned from them. So I feel like there's a bit of regret with that, because you could learn from someone who's you consider better than yourself. But the imposter syndrome was too big. So like, I can't do it.
And you've done many different jobs. I feel like especially when you were working in London, even in one job, you would do so many different things.
Yeah.
What did you like most about your work when you were...
The like relationships you develop with people. Yeah, I always liked... There's some jobs I was missing that, the like human contact and the interaction with people, that I always liked. I kind of like being the go-to person when you have problem and solving your problem. I love that. And at the same time, there's kind of like there's another side of that, is that you are always being disrupted by people, because they want you to solve their problem, so you can't focus on your other tasks. But at the same time, it's quite nice to know that people rely on you and they go to you if they have a problem, and that they trust you enough to ask you for advice or for help. But yeah, I really liked building relationships, whether with colleagues or like clients or tenants. That's something I really liked, and something I want to keep in France as well. Yeah, I liked being part of, kind of be part of people's lives in a way, or like some important things going on in the lives, like with the events when we had weddings. It was always really nice to kind of be part of that a special day for them, or even like corporate events. Some people work so much toward that events, and being one piece of the puzzle and their events and their success is really nice too. And seeing them succeed as well, and knowing that you've been a little part in that success was really nice. Yeah, I think that was my favorite thing.
And is there something that you created in your life that you are really proud of?
Ooh, I don't think it's so much like creating. Like when we think creating, we think like creating something that is physical. And I don't think I created interesting things like that. But I think the thing I'm more proud of is like more creating some relationships with some people that I think are amazing people, or putting relationships with my animals as well. Like the relationship I have with my horse, who is like a former race horse, and she got bitten up before we got her, and she was not trusting humans anymore, and kind of like building that trust with her was, and creating that relationship where she feels safe. That was very interesting, and yeah, I was proud. I have a horse that is a happy horse.
Wow.
But yeah, it was more, the relationship you create, and like your friends have become family. That kind of like the family you create for yourself, that I'm more proud of, I think.
And what type of artwork interests you the most? Because you mentioned dance, singing, writing.
Yeah, I love. I'd say it's probably going to be music. That's probably the most important one, and the one I always go back to. And the one that doesn't matter which mood you are, you can go to music and it's going to fulfill whatever needs you have. I really like singing, dancing as well. But music, definitely. It's just so complex, and there's something for everyone in music as well. I think it's the more common thing, and the thing that touches people the more easily as well. Yeah, probably music is the biggest one.
And being a human being on this planet
is a big responsibility.
What do you feel is your strength?
What is my strength? You would have to ask people around me.
I have to ask myself.
You'd be the one answering the question. What is my strength? I'd say probably kindness. Yeah, I'd probably say that. What do you think?
Definitely. You have a big kindness capacity.
Yeah, I think, I would say that. If
And
you need me, I'm there.
that is true. That's what I said in the letter. Everybody goes to Gaelle. And anything you would like to be better at?
Probably communicating. Yeah, but I got very good at communication in my professional life, but personal, I'm getting better, a lot better. I learned, I progressed, but I feel like I still have, progress to make in that, like talking about my feelings and really opening up on some things. Yeah, it's probably that. And also because I never want to hurt people. So there's some things like sometimes that bothers me. And I'm like, I'm not going to say it because if she knows or he knows that's going to bother me, it's going to be mad or it's going to be pissed. And I don't want to hurt people. So it's probably, communicating also when something bothers me more. Because when you do, actually, it's, you always fear hurting people. But actually, I'm still learning, but when you start talking about those things, those are actually the important discussions. And then some good things come out of it. I think like you go a step further in your relationship, or whether it's with a friend or a lover, actually you progress.
And is there anything that scares you?
Losing people. Yeah. It's not, it's death, but not mine. That scares me.
I'm fine with dying. Just please other people.
Not right now,
me.
but yeah, it's losing people you love, definitely.
And do you feel like you have a strongest desire from life?
I don't know. I feel like I'm quite simple in my wants and needs. Higher desire in life. No, I think you just realize more the importance of, like, at least for me, as you grow up, the importance that people have in your life and how much love is a big part of life. And I'm not talking about like a romantic relationship. Love is a lot more than that. And I think that's what we all thrive for. In the end, in different ways, and we might not say it that way, but in the end, probably love.
And who inspires you?
Someone famous, or because I don't think I have anyone famous really. Not that doesn't inspire me. Like a groupie in a hood. No, there's always a lot of very inspiring people. Famous, inspiring people. I love Michelle Obama so much. She's amazing. Everything she does is amazing. Nope. I actually really admire my best friend in France. She's just, I don't know how she does it all. Like, she has a full-time job. She has 2 young kids, toddlers, and she's like involved in one of her kids' school and the parent association, and she's involved in like 2 networking association as well. She's always doing she is on a radio show as well.
Is she?
Yeah, she does a radio show I think twice a month, an afternoon, and it's always like, where do you follow that energy? And and she, like, her marriage is like an example. And she's so good at communicating, so she's definitely an example for me. So she's someone I admire, and she's always like, she's very, very smart. She's very funny. She's very kind as well. She's always like, even if she does a million things, she's always going to find time for you if you need.
Wow.
So she's someone I'm always telling her, like, you're amazing. And she's like, oh, stop it. No, I'm not. I'm like, no, like, how did you do it? She's like, oh, stop it. But no, she's someone I really admire. And my aunt as well, because she's someone who's not afraid to be herself. And she's whole, and she's the way she is, and she doesn't apologize for it. And I found that very inspiring.
Is there anyone or group of people who annoys you?
Yes, I think that's gonna bounce back on what we were saying yesterday. Like people who complain but don't make any changes in their lives.
Yes.
People who complain like all day long, like, my life is terrible, I'm unhappy, but I'm not doing a damn thing to change things. That annoys me. Because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own happiness. So if you're not happy, it's just, it's up to you to change things. And I know sometimes we can make a mountain of it, even if it's just like changing your job. So many people stay in jobs. They are so unhappy in their company, and the idea of changing jobs and like it's uncomfortable, and yeah, it might not work out, but if you don't do anything, you won't know if maybe it's going to work out, and most of the time it's going to work out and you're going to be happier. But it can be in jobs or anything, like people spend a whole day long complaining and not doing anything to change.
And if you were an animal, which one would you be?
Ooh, I'd probably be a cat. I love the sun too much. Yeah, probably a cat. I'm kind of like that. Same as cat, like they like being pets for a time, and then when they're tired of it, they just go away. I'm the same. Like I feel like being because I'm quite introverted, or like I'm social in a way. Like I like people, I like talking with people and being around people, but at some point I'm like, that's enough socializing for today. I need to go recharge my batteries. And I feel like cats are a bit the same way. Like, yeah, you can pet me for a time, and when I'm tired of it, I'll just go away and I won't apologize for it. And just lying down under the sun as well. We do that a lot, and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks nice.
And do you have a favorite color?
Favorite color? That changes. I think like at some point I was like, oh, I love red, and now it's not that I don't like red anymore, but not as much. Green would be my color. It's been a while. It's been green. I think.
So we can settle on green.
Or sometimes like black is my favorite color.
Is it? Wow. I think I've never heard someone who told me that black was.
I know. I feel like when you say it, you're like, oh, she has mental issues. Her life is dark or whatever.
Go to therapy. We're going to start it now.
She has depression or something. No, I don't like. I like. I think black because, like, I don't like too much lights. Yeah. Like especially in the evening, I'm like just like one or two little lights. So that's probably why I would say black, but no, otherwise green. Green is very. That reminds me of my plants.
Oh yes, Gaelle loves plants.
And nature, and I think it's meant to be like a relaxing color as well.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
Kind
green.
of like suits you. Blue as well, but I don't like blue as much. I feel like it's too cold. Blue is cold. I feel like green is warmer.
What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Small things. Like I love like walking in the woods. Just being outside, being outdoor. That makes me happy. Having a good meal and a few drinks with friends and family, that makes me very happy. Like having a good time with people you love. That
like cheese and ice cream?
Like cheese and ice cream. Not together, one after the other. Bit of raclette and ice cream after. That is nice.
And how would you describe your perfect day?
My perfect day. That would be a sunny day to start with. That would be a sunny day, and that would be a day I don't have anything to do, but I don't you can take your time doing things. You don't have to rush through, and you're with good company, people, like friends and family. That would be a perfect day, and you don't have to worry about anything. You can forget the word.
And do you prefer to lead or to follow?
There was a time I was just a follower, because again, too introverted, and I didn't want to contradict people when I didn't agree with them. Now I'm kind of happy with both. I don't mind following as long as I kind of agree with the leader. But if I don't, now I'm not afraid as much to say it, or and to offer a different direction, or if I'm asked to lead, I'm fine with that too. I feel I'm a bit more like a chameleon. Tell me what is my role, and I'll do it.
That's beautiful. And do you feel like now you know yourself pretty well, or do you feel like you still have some stuff to learn about yourself?
I know myself a lot more, definitely. Especially like the part of myself that I like less, that you don't want to think you have in you, but that you do. And you have to accept them too. So I think, a big part of knowing yourself is also accepting some part of you. So I know myself a lot more, but I feel like you're always discovering yourself too. Also because you change throughout the years. So sometimes you're like, oh, I know I'm going to react that way to that scenario. And actually you surprise yourself because you didn't, either because you reacted a lot way better than you thought you would, or you reacted like you froze or something. So I think that, as you grow, you change. And there's always different situation that you've never encountered before, so you can't really know. Like, they bring you another piece of knowledge about yourself. So there's still a lot to discover, but at the same time, I think I know myself well enough now. A lot of introspection, a bit of therapy.
Writing songs.
Writing songs.
And if you could meet your teenager self, like high school Gaelle, would you say something?
Definitely. I would say trust yourself more. I don't think I can swear on a podcast, but I would say tell people to go screw themselves a lot more. Believe in yourself is definitely, believe in yourself a lot more. You can be confident. You're good. It's fine. I think it would be trying to bring the teenage myself a lot more confidence in herself. And don't be afraid to say things as well.
Oh, in which way?
When you're not happy, when you're happy as well, and telling people you love them, but also to say no when you want to say no. And that is an important one, especially as women. We're not allowed to say no. In many scenarios. We're not allowed to say no, otherwise we're a pain in the ass. So, don't be afraid to be yourself. That would be the big one.
And how do you learn and grow?
How do I learn and grow? Experiences. Living different experiences and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone for me, it's what made me grow the most. Like moving in London a few years ago where I didn't know anyone. I had no jobs. I had no accommodation when I moved there. So in terms of like being outside your comfort zone, it's quite good. I speak English, but not that well. You realize once you're in the country, you're like, actually, I don't really speak English. And yeah, I've grown so much so quickly. And I think that also helps you build confidence, knowing that you can go through those uncomfortable moments where you don't have a safety net and you survived. You've been fine. I think experiences and like always trying to discover something new and being outside your comfort zone, that's where you learn the most and grow the most. Absolutely.
And do you want to share any coming project for the future?
Ooh, any coming projects? Well, I have the house that I'd like to do at some point.
And you need to share the name of the house that you told me yesterday.
Heaven. Again, we go back to like finding happiness.
So
it's
if you're
gonna be
looking for heaven, just go to Gaelle's new house.
So that's a big project. What other projects? I'd love to. It's not the right time right now, financially, but I'd love to start working as independent. Probably real estate. Real estate agent. As freelance. But that's probably going to be a project for a year time or something. And traveling.
Where?
I would love to. I'd love to go to do the American West Coast, because I've done Colorado and I loved it. And for my birthday next year, I would love to do the West Coast, California. I'm dreaming of those big national parks, nature. But it's probably not going to be possible. So it's probably going to be travel somewhere else. Thinking south of Portugal, or I don't know yet, but probably somewhere sunny. Although I would love to go to some colder countries like Iceland. Like, seems to be amazing.
Oh yes, beautiful.
And I'd love to see the Northern Lights one day. In real.
And is there anything new you would like to learn to do, like playing an instrument, or I don't know?
Guitar, I'd love to.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I have one here. I need to take it out of the attic and bring it home. I've always loved. I've always wanted to learn guitar. I tried a few times, but it's just so painful for the fingers. So I gave up 2 or 3 times. I feel like I'm going to say piano, although I know how to play piano, but I haven't played for so long now that I feel like kind of have to relearn a bit. I'd love to learn to properly write like melody and arrangement for a song. So that's something I love to do, to really do a finished song.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you want to learn by just practicing yourself, or to kind of do a course, like writing course? Or?
I've done a course that I felt didn't help that much. So I think both. I mean, you learn by practicing anyway, but there's probably some knowledge that you need to acquire before. Although I kept reading that stop planning what you want to do and just start doing it. Because you're going to learn more by doing than by planning. You're like researching or...
True.
And I feel like it's true, because I've done a lot of like researching and planning and trying to build the knowledge. And I have such a hard time to just leap that last step to start doing it properly and focus on it. And so, yeah, I think it's more start doing things, practicing, that you learn. Because then you can see what exact knowledge you might not have that you actually need and go back to that, but at least you see where you're at. So, yeah.
And do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie? One of my favorite is Big Fish from Tim Burton.
Okay.
I love it because that's kind of, I love the way kind of that like kind of romanticizes life. Like it tells the story to his son that seems completely made up and unbelievable. And actually you realize at the end of the day that in some ways it was not in the exact same way that he was telling his son, but that it was his own truth and his stories and kind of the way you can see your life in a better angle than it actually is, and make it kind of magical. And I like the how the son start to get that throughout the movie, and especially at the end. And yeah, I really like it. So it's a beautiful movie. I love it.
And any favorite book?
Favorite book? I have a few. I really liked A Little Life from Hanya Yanagihara, although it wrecks you. It's a horrible story, but it's also very beautifully written. I love Educated by Tara Westover.
I love it too.
I've read the book.
I did cry reading it.
Yeah, I just loved it. And I think I read it at the time. I was still processing some things and doing some therapy, and that book helped because there was some parallels with things I've experienced, and it was very inspiring, I felt. And yeah, I think it resonated with me because of some experiences I have, and I really loved it. Yeah. To see that it doesn't matter where you're from and what you lived and been through. You're in charge of your own destiny and you can turn things around. So yeah, it's a beautiful book. I love it.
Any favorite song?
Oh, that is so favorite song. There's just so many. It's so hard to pick one.
You can have a top 3 if you want.
I really, really like The Priest from Milow. It's Belgian. Yeah, I think it's Belgian. Yeah. It's like 6 minutes long or 7 minutes long, and the storytelling is amazing. It kind of tells that story of a priest who like had different life before being a priest and is far from being perfect. And yeah, it's kind of like his whole story in one song. And I mean, yeah, the storytelling is amazing. I love it. It's a very simple song in terms of like music. It's just like guitar and the main singer and maybe a couple backing singers, but I felt it's really powerful. That's probably one of my favorites. Yeah. It's so well written.
And any favorite place in London?
Oh, that one is hard too. There's so many nice places.
I have to ask you because you always recommend places. And
yeah. Regent's Canal I love it. What other ones do you like? Richmond is really nice too. Yeah, probably the Sky Garden I like as well. Like that indoor forest with amazing view over London. It's quite cool. But Regent's Canal, I really like it because when you walk alongside it, you go through so many different neighborhoods, and you have that moments of like peace and quiet in betweens. Like you can walk through Camden, and then it gets quieter, and then you like in Little Venice, and it's by the water. It's always it makes you feel calmer. So I really like, Regent Canal.
And to finish with, do you have favorite performance that you've seen on stage? It can be a musical, it can be a dance piece, it can be...
A favorite one. I love... I've seen it once live and I think twice in cinema. But the musical I saw in cinema that was recorded, Kinky Boots. Don't know if you know it. If you've seen it.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
It's just...
Maybe you told me about it, actually.
Probably. I love it. I wished I had seen it live a second time, but I think they stopped and they went touring. But yeah, it's such a great musical. Again, about just accepting yourself as you are and not being afraid of what other people think of you. And just the final, you just want to be on your feet and dance and sing with them. And it's just so cheerful.
It's got everything
it's just
you like.
really cheer you up.
Dancing and singing.
Yeah. I like musical for that. Like, I feel like, singers artists who do musical, they can do it all. They can act, they can sing, they can dance. And it's just, I admire them. And it's a lot of work for people in musical and a lot of discipline as well. It's quite intense, so you feel like athletes, really. So I quite admire people doing musicals.
Yeah, that's a lot to do. Well, thank you.
Thank you
for doing this episode with me. And I don't know, because sometimes I direct people to like a website, but you don't have one yet, right?
No, I don't have
Maybe
anything.
LinkedIn, if you want to work with Gaelle.
If you have a problem to solve.
Any problem? She's the
Call
one.
me.
You will receive like 1,000 calls from like strangers. Please help me with my life.
Maybe that's the business I need to
so
to
funny.
create.
Problem solving.
Problem solver.
Call Gaelle.
Professional problem solver.
Thank you.
Thank you.